What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video. It is week 8 in the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys are coming off a bye, and they're welcoming the Los Angeles Rams to AT&T Stadium. Let's talk about it.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look the middle, sacked again by Parsons again. CD Lamb, was he down? They say no for now, and he's into the end zone.
Once again, welcome to the channel, guys. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content. Man, I miss y'all. I know it was a bye week and it was just 1 week off, but I missed y'all. And shout out to everyone for helping me get to 2,000 subscribers. That's crazy. That's a milestone. I mean, you can see my first video, and I can't believe, 3 seasons into this, we're already at 2,000 subscribers. So it means a lot. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. And whether you found me on TikTok or Instagram or TikTok. Did I already say TikTok? I think I said TikTok. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. But tell me what you guys did during the bye week. I want to know. What'd you do during the bye week? I had nothing to do. I wasn't as invested. I purposely stayed away from football as much as I could. Just because this content creating, I learned my first season, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to pace yourself out, and you got to keep yourself excited and passionate about the things. If you find formulas, if you find structure, that thing could really work for you. And if you guys have been around, you guys know I like structure. I like consistent things. It doesn't take too many videos to figure that out. But enough about me. Thanks again for each and every one of you for liking and subscribing and being along for the journey. I really appreciate it. But let's talk about Cowboys football, y'all. I think in a lot of ways, like we are as fans, right? Coming off that bye week is really refreshing because we're excited to see the team. We're excited to see how they answer back from the bye week. But I think we also just come with a good perspective. And I think that, there's nothing like injuries going into the bye week for the Cowboys. It wasn't that detrimental, especially early in the season. But I think it brought fresh new perspective. And I'm going to talk about this when we break it down a little bit more. But that time away is important. Taking a step back sometimes is a step forward. Ooh, baby, am I preaching? Yeah, I'll preach. I got no problem with preaching about Cowboys football. But anyway, sometimes taking that step back allows you to take it in, allows you to see something different. And I think this bye week is going to be something that helps fans, but also helps the team, especially the offense. But let's go ahead and jump on in like we always do. Cowboys and Rams. The Dallas Cowboys are 4-2. The Los Angeles Rams dropped the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're sitting now at 3-4. We're coming back home. Third home game of the season. It is week 8, guys, and this is only our third home game. That is pretty insane. In my season prediction video that you can check that I posted way back in May when the season was released, at this point, I had predicted that we were going to be 5-1. We're at 4-2, so I was one game off. And so this is a good spot. Relax. It's a good spot. I'm going to be pretty hard with this team. I'm going to have high expectations, but 4-2 is not the end of the world. It's a good spot to be in, especially at the bye. And I like where we are. But let's go ahead and jump on in like we always do with our fun facts. The Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Los Angeles Rams have a rich history. I mean, they were the St. Louis Rams. They were the Los Angeles Rams again. But the all-time record between these two teams, Cowboys lead it 15 wins to 13 losses. So, once again, Cowboys have been around, and they have the leg up on a lot of the competition in a lot of ways. Last time these two teams played was last season, and Cooper Rush was the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys at the time, and that was a big game because, everyone needed to step up in Dak Prescott's absence, and the Cowboys did exactly that. They won on the road at AT&T West at SoFi Stadium, and they beat the Rams 22-10. Great games from the defense, great games from Micah Parsons, especially a great game from Tony Pollard. So maybe that's what gets the best out of Tony Pollard, is playing a Los Angeles Rams team. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to talk about that in a bit, but I think this is the game, y'all. Some more fun facts. Cowboys have won 10 straight at home. That's the longest streak in the NFL. Last season, they were undefeated at home, and they've won 2 so far this season. Now, in the last 2 seasons, during the early window, during the early games, and surprise, surprise, the Cowboys are playing an early game This is not the afternoon slot. This is not a prime time slot. This is week 8, and we're getting our first early game. It's noon here in the Central Time Zone, but in those early noon slot games, the Cowboys are 8-3. Usually I like it when they're early, so I can get the Cowboys stress out of the way in the morning and then just kind of relax for the rest of the day. It's those primetime games, man. You're up late at night and you're watching them, and so this is gonna be an exciting one. 2-0 at home. We're 2-2 on the road. It's not a road game, so I'm not gonna dial in on that. We'll talk about that next week because it's a big week next week. We'll talk about that. Be sure to like and subscribe and come back next week because big week. But let's go ahead and jump on in to the defense, the Cowboys defense versus this Rams offense. Let's go ahead and throw up the stats right here. The Rams offense, there's no joke. They can put up yards. They can put up points. They can be explosive. 6 overall offense, but boy, oh boy, take a look at our defense, baby. 2nd overall. And what did Coach Mike say? Defense wins championships, but the Super Bowl, come on, finish it. The Super Bowl is won by the quarterback. This is a big game for this team to take the right step in the right direction. And there's your defensive matchup right there with the Cowboys defense and the Rams offense. If you look at their passing for the Rams, they're 6th passing, they're 13th rushing. Look, they got weapons. We know that. They got weapons and they can be very explosive. But there is a way to get to the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, there is a reason why they're 3-4. I mean, I remember a once great coach said, "You are what your record says you are." And the Rams are 3-4 for a very, very good reason. And so let's take a look at their schedule so far. Beat the Seahawks. That's a good win. You beat a division rival. Lost to the 49ers. Lost to the Bengals. Won a close game in overtime against the Colts. Lost to the Eagles. Beat the Cardinals. Usually I would say everyone beats the Cardinals, but that's not true. And then you lost to the Steelers. One thing I noticed that sticks out immediately, for the most part, when they play a defense that can get to the quarterback, they have a hard time. And there's no surprise to that. I mean, their offensive line has not been the same since that Super Bowl run. It has not been the same since Whitworth left and retired and rode off into the sunset. They have struggled. And they've put more weight on Matthew Stafford as he's getting a little bit older in his years. I'm not saying he's washed or anything like that. That's ridiculous. He's still a very solid quarterback in the league. But you're putting more pressure on Matthew Stafford. And when you put more pressure on your quarterback and your offensive line is not at its best, I mean, I don't even know if it's in the top 50% in the league. It just doesn't, it's not a winning formula. But they do got weapons, y'all. I mean, they got Puka Nacua. They got Cooper Kupp, obviously, coming off of injured reserve. Shout out to my wide receiver #1 in fantasy. Just take it easy this week. Take it easy. I'm still going to start you, but take it easy. Don't go too hard on my Cowboys defense. But they got some weapons, and like I said, they got explosive weapons. Now I'll say this. I think they match up pretty well against our secondary. And obviously, we're without Diggs. I get that. And if Diggs was in this matchup, I feel a whole lot better. But I like the matchup. I think this is going to be a competitive matchup. I could see our guys winning. I could see their guys winning. It's going to be give and take on Sunday. And dare I say, I already feel like this might be a high-scoring game. We may see some yards. We may see some big plays. That's kind of my gut feeling. I don't look at this game and think it's going to be a defensive battle, nor it's going to be both offenses struggling to find their way, kind of like what we saw on Monday Night Football in Week 6 with the Chargers and the Cowboys. I think both offenses are going to find their rhythm. And yes, I meant that. I do think the Cowboys offense looks better. I think it looks better this week, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. But let's take a look at this secondary. This secondary has to have a solid game. They got to hold down their routes. They got to hold down their wide receivers. And I'm just not talking about Gilmore. I'm just not talking about DeRon Bland. I'm talking about our safeties as well. They need to still be consistent with their play. Donovan Wilson, Jaron Kearse, Malik Hooker. Everyone needs to show up in this secondary. They need to cover well because Matthew Stafford can outthrow you. This team can outthrow you if you allow them to. And the Cowboys play a lot of cover 3. And the Rams like to attack that cover 3. And a lot of their success came in that cover 3. So definitely something to keep track of. But take a look at this stat here. I know they got a high passing attack, right? They got Kupp, they got Puka Nacua. They can throw the ball. But check this out, baby. Lowest passer rating allowed in the National Football League. I'm going to jump over here to Stephon Gilmore. Check that out. I don't got my glasses on, so I got to squint. 6 in the league. Stephon Gilmore, and he has the lowest passer rating allowed. He's allowed a 15.9. Stephon Gilmore is not washed, and he's not old. He's nothing like that. I mean, he was a steal. We all knew that when we traded for him in the offseason. And speaking about trades, I'll probably talk a little bit about another trade for perhaps another cornerback here in a little bit. But we'll see how the video goes. But Stephon Gilmore, cornerback number 1. I know we all expect him to be cornerback number 2, but with Diggs' injury, he's had to step up, and he has stepped up. Had that game-clinching interception against the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. But check this out, baby. DaRon Bland, number 1 in the NFL. Shout out to the young guy stepping up and taking advantage and seizing the opportunity, man. Man, the Cowboys talked about that, right? I mean, that's their mantra. Seize everything, and DaRon Bland has been an exceptional example of that. He's been great. Had a rough game against San Francisco, but man, he's been balling out. Number 1 in the league, lowest passer rating allowed, 22.3, and he's really stepped up, and we've needed him to step up, and he's taken that next step from what we saw last season. So I'm excited for that matchup. I think I'm really at the point of the season where I'm just excited to see this team improve if they can and take those next steps. This game should be won. I'm going to flat out and say it. This is a game the Cowboys should win. Can the Rams make it competitive? Absolutely. And we saw that with the Arizona Cardinals. But the Cowboys, they got a great defense. They can get after this Rams offense. Not only can they do that on Sunday, but we saw them do it last season. I mean, both these teams are similar with where they matched up last season. This game is all about pressure. All about pressure. If you can get pressure on Matthew Stafford, you have won the game. They don't really have a running game that they can rely on, and don't expect them to allow that to open the game for them. They want to get the ball out of Stafford's hands really quick. They want to avoid the rush. They don't want anyone touching Stafford, and that's why our secondary is so important, right? They got to lock down in those first 5 yards, taking away those first looks, making Stafford go into his progression, because if you can make Stafford sit in the pocket for 3+ seconds, boom. Whether it's Osa, Dante Fowler, Sam Williams, who needs to play a lot more, or Micah frickin' Parsons, that's how we can win this game, and that's how this defense can have another dominant performance at AT&T Stadium. But let me say this, because I'm your unbiased and realistic Cowboys fan. Check this. This defense is – I love this defense. They're really good with the takeaways, but they got to step it up. They got to get back to their former selves. This is a game not only for the offense to pick up momentum and get their identity, but this is a game where the defense can do exactly the same, because it's been a couple of rough weeks before that bye week. And that's why I said that bye week was so important, not just for the offense, but for everyone on this team. Check this out. We only had 1 sack against the Los Angeles Chargers, and that was from Micah Parsons in the last 2 minutes. Granted, we got pressure. I mean, we forced Herbert to make some throws, and it forced some incompletions. But 1 sack, that's not good enough. Remember my post-game reaction, and shout out to everyone who watched it. We had over 200 views. Don't get satisfied. This is a game that we have to hold the Cowboys to as fans. We got to hold them accountable to take that next step. You got to win this game, and you got to take control of this game. You got to go out and take yours. Don't make it a game. Don't turn the ball over. Don't commit penalties and make this a game and make this into a last-second field goal or anything like that. This is a game. If you're truly contenders and not pretenders, and if you're actually doers and not just dreamers, I told y'all I was going to preach in this one, you got to go out and take yours and protect home field at AT&T Stadium and dominate this game. And the defense has to bounce back, and they got to get after the quarterback. 1 sack against the Chargers. They had only 1 sack against the 49ers. They had 2 sacks against the Patriots. They got to get back to that pass rushing formula. They got to get after the quarterback. And Sam Williams, man, DQ, you got to play him on the line. Sam Williams is out there tweeting, saying he wants to play more, saying he wants to be freed. But the time is now to let Sam Williams out. You got to let him, you just got to unleash him and let him go on that line, because we won't look back if Sam Williams gets the opportunity to play like DQ gives all the rest of the players to play. And then Micah Parsons, you got to let him roam as a linebacker. And Marquise Bell, I'm so excited to see him after he had that great, fabulous game on Monday Night Football. Marquise Bell, is a ball hawk. He's a ball chaser. He's a playmaker, and I'm really excited to see him step in. Obviously, with Leighton Vander Esch still out of the picture. So with all that being said, again, this is a game for the defense to reestablish themselves. You had the bye week. You're nice and healthy. We only had one person on the injury report, which was Wanye Thomas. So go out and get yours. And here's my defensive predictions. I think we get 3 sacks. 1, 2, 3 sacks. I believe we pick off Matthew Stafford once. Could it be 2? Possibly, but I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say we at least pick him off one time, and it might be a crucial, like, kind of end of the game interception. And last but not least, this one's going to be straightforward. I believe DeMarcus Lawrence calls game. I think there's going to be a chance for the Rams to maybe make it close or make it competitive at the end. But DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm counting on number 90, the tank, to call game and end it and get us the win to move to 5-2. But other than that, those are my defensive predictions, and let's go ahead and move on to this offense. Okay, the offense, let's just go ahead and take a look at these stats first before I get into the offense, and that's kind of always been the headache when you're talking to a Cowboys fan, because they got to talk about this offense. The Cowboys, they're very sneaky with their stats. I mean, they're high up in the top 5 in terms of points scored, but don't let that fool you. If you're watching the games like we are, they're 23rd in offense, they're 24th in passing, and they're 16th in rushing. That's not good. That's not championship football. And that's it's enough to beat a team like the Chargers, and the Chargers were just the worst team that day, to be honest. If they played any better, they may have won the game. But here, this is what I meant by the beginning of the video. I think leading up to those games, obviously the 49ers game and obviously the Chargers game, you could tell there was some frustration in the offensive, on the offense with the players and the coaches. And I think sometimes, and I'm going to attack this from a psychology way. I'm going to attack this from a different way, a mental way. I think when you get to that point, you're obviously trying. I'm not questioning the effort. I'm not questioning them trying to figure it out. Everyone on that team is trying to figure out something. The coaches, the players, they're trying to come together. They're hitting practice hard, and they're trying to fix this. But sometimes there's almost doing too much. And you overthink things. And you often see that in a game where everyone knows what call you should call, but you overthink it trying to be cute or creative. And I think they came to that point, and that was a little bit concerning because that was early in the season. I mean, we're talking about week 6 against the Chargers. So I think the bye week is going to be very beneficial to this offense. And I'm really expecting a game where we can finally get back to our identity. Look, I know we got weapons. I know we got CD. I know we got Gallo. I know we got Cooks. But at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys are known for their running game. And basically, if you can run the football, you're going to open up a lot of things. Look, I'm flushing away the fact that Dak Prescott had more rushing yards than Tony Pollard against the Chargers. And I'm going to flush away the fact that CeeDee Lamb only has 1 touchdown on the season. And I'm going to flush away the fact that Cooks only has 1 touchdown. This is a new season. That's what these Cowboys got to look at it as. This is a new season. This is a new page. This is an opportunity to reestablish yourself. And like I said, you're in a good position. You're 4-2. So we need to run the ball. It's just plain and simple. Do everything you can to run the ball successfully, effectively. And we got our 5 starting offensive linemen. This should not be rocket science. We have good players, whether it's scheme, blocking schemes. And you know what? Everyone just needs to be better. It's as simple as that. Everyone just needs to play better. Everyone just needs to be better. The offensive line needs to block. The tight ends need a catch. And they need a block as well. If you look at the film, the tight ends are lost sometimes on those running schemes They're not chipping their guys and they're not blocking their assignments. So that's coaching and playing. That goes on both parts, the players and the coaches. Wide receivers need to get separation. And Mike needs to call, and Mike and Brian Schottenheimer, they need to call better plays and better concepts. And I think they did some of that. They made progress against the Chargers. And simply, Mike needs to call better. He needs to understand the game better. He needs to be in motion with the game, understand what's going on in the moment, and he just needs to be better with his situational football in terms of calling the game and calling the right plays in situational moments like third down. Now, granted, we're pretty good in third down efficiency, but, the first down runs, the second down runs, we got to improve. And the penalties, man. The penalties. Number one in the freaking NFL in penalties. Look, we dealt with that 2 seasons ago, and we got better last season. You're telling me we're taking steps back? Look. They had a bye week. They had a chance to centralize themselves. And I think this pregame prediction video is actually a little bit more optimistic, but I think this bye week is going to bode well for this entire team. And I think Sunday we see a much better product, see a much better team, see a more synchronized team. With this offense, I want to see them, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would not be opposed to, if we won the coin toss or if we lost, I would not be opposed to accepting that coin toss and taking the ball and starting with our offense. I know. I'm always about putting your defense out there first. But, you've been waiting bye week and you've been waiting all practice week. You got to go out there and get yours. It's time for the Cowboys to be hunters, not gatherers. It's time to go out there and be aggressive and take yours and not call the game according to what's happening. You be the game. You called the game you want it to be. You guys got to be thermostats. You can't be thermometers. You can't be reading the temperature of the room and be like, oh, it's a little bit of a slower game. We got to run the ball. No, take control of the game. You're a great team. You got great players. Go out and do it. I got to chill, man. But this is such an important game. I swear, man, if it comes out to a 2017 game and we win by the skin of our teeth, that's not the right step. The Cowboys got to go out there and take control. And speaking of taking control, Dak, I'm not going to criticize you. I'm not going to get on you because you were really one of the main reasons why we won that football game on Monday Night Football. But Dak, you got to take control, man. You got to take control. We know you can call plays. We saw it in the preseason, and you're really good at it. You have a great understanding. You have a smart football IQ. You understand what's on the field. You're really good at the pre-reads, and the pre-snaps. So, Dak, you got to take control of the game. You got to let loose. You see an opening, run for it. You see a pass, sling it. And I think that's what we saw in that Los Angeles game against the Chargers on Monday night. He was throwing it down the field. Gallup wasn't catching it. But that's what I want to see. We got to be aggressive. We can't be passive. That's not how you win in this league, by being passive and allowing things to come out and allowing things to come to you. You got to go out and take it. That's what this defense and offense has to do. And I'm expecting that kind of game for them. I want that game for them. This team needs that game to go out there and dominate. You play 2 home games at AT&T Stadium. You scored 30 and you scored 38. So the expectation is over 30 points. And I think that's safe to say that you can do that. Now, I want this, as much as I love it when the defense scores, I want this offense to score too. I want 30 points on Sunday, but it's all because of the offense. Because I think that's such a misleading stat, and that's unbiased and realistically. You look at, the Cowboys in the top 5 with offensive points scored. It's like, no, there's been pick sixes, there's been fumbles that we've returned, and part of that is the defense. The offense needs to get into a rhythm here. If we want to take that next step, the offense needs to take that next step. So here's my offensive predictions here for the Cowboys and the Rams in Week 8. I think CeeDee Lamb gets a touchdown. We got to feed him, man. We got to give him the ball. And I think we did a great job of that in LA. I think Brandon Cooks gets a touchdown. So I got both our wide receivers getting touchdowns, yes. And then I got Tony Pollard going crazy, and I got him in for 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, I got 4 touchdowns offensively. And I really just think this offense is going to gel well, and they're going to be in sync. Last but not least, Dak Prescott. I think he throws over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he has a very good game. I think Matthew Stafford's going to throw a lot of yards, probably more yards than Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott's probably going to have the more efficient game because he's able to. I mean, he's got the weapons, he's got the line, he's got the running back, he's got the defense. So he doesn't have to do as much as Stafford has to do, because Stafford has to do a lot for his team to win games at this point. Dak doesn't necessarily have to do that. And hopefully that's not this kind of game where he has to, throw us out of it. And hopefully it's not a high shootout or anything like that. But as you can tell, those are my offense predictions. Let's move into my game prediction. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be sure to like and subscribe. It feels great to be back. And I can't wait for this game and for the rest of the season. But here's my game prediction. If you did the math by now, I got the Cowboys winning. I'll straight up and say it. Cowboys should. And I do believe they win this game. This is a game that you got to win to prove yourself, to continue to prove to us as fans that you are the team that we all thought you were. It's still going to be a while before you earn the trust of the fan base and media and critics or whatever. But this is a game you should win at home against a team that's under 500. They may put up a fight, but go out and win this game decisively. And I think that's exactly what the Cowboys do, and they get another home win. I got the Cowboys moving up to 5-2, and I believe the Cowboys get their offense rolling in Week 8. They score 4 touchdowns, and I got the Cowboys winning 31-20. Yes, the Cowboys win another home game, and they move to 3-0, and they get their win out of the bye week to move to 5-2, which would set up a very, 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 very interesting matchup in Philadelphia. But other than that, be sure to like and subscribe. That's my game prediction. Of course, I want to know what your game prediction is, what your defensive predictions are, what your offensive predictions are. Be sure to comment down below and let me know what you think about this matchup and this team going into Sunday. But be sure to check out my other videos as too. The Madden prediction will be out on Saturday. This video comes out on Friday. And then, of course, I will see you guys Sunday after the game. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys then. Go Cowboys.
Prescott, touchdown.